Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be giving the Celica a good winter wash. Make sure it's all prepped, ready and waxed for the winter months. First of all, I'm going to clear the apples off the driveway, and then we'll move the car across and we'll get started. That's the driveway clear. We'll have a look at the Celica. As you can see, covered in leaves. Cool, I'm out of breath now. Gets you warmed up on a cold day. So what I'm going to do is going to pull it over back onto the driveway now it's clear of apples and debris. Get all the leaves off. Give it a good wash. Using snow foam and contact wash. Clear all the shuts. And then I think we give it a good coat of wax. Make sure it's all clean and protected for winter. Make sure the wheels are all waxed and polished. Clean up all under the arches. You see there's quite a bit of dirt under there. And a lot of bit to get rid of. Yeah. Oh, so get my breath back. Have a nice cup of tea, and then we'll drive it over onto the driveway. So I'll just show you the actual products I'm going to be using. I'm going to start off with the pro-kleen snow foam. It's a really good snow foam, this, for the money. I like to use this because you get a really nice thick foam with it. I go quite strong with the actual mix on this. I'll probably go 80% snow foam, 20% water, because our water is really hardy and I get a really nice thick foam doing it that way. And then I should be decontaminating the wheels with the Auto-Finesse iron out. Also with the pro-kleen Trolls Breath, just to make sure all the iron and contaminants are out of the wheels and some of the paint work. After I've done that and I've done a good detail wash, I use the detail brushes on the nooks and crannies to get all that clean. I shall then be using the crystal on the glass, Auto-Finesse course. I like to use the sealant hydrophobic wax as a drying aid as well. I just spray all that on and remove some of the water, helps it to dry the car a little bit easier. Sometimes I go over with the glisten spray wax, but today I think I'll be probably using the turtle wax. It's an old school sort of wax, but it's really still good. I use that as a base wax, and I may even go over with the essence depending on time and temperature, etc. Headlights, I like to use the turtle wax headlight cleaner and sealant. It's a really good product. For some of the rubbers and things, I use the Simonized Back to Black, or the tyre goo. I also use on the tyres and some on the trim as well. It's also by pro-kleen. It's a really good product. For the interior, I like to use the Total Interior Clean. Cleans up all the plastics nice, and then I can dress them with the Dressel, which is really nice stuff, again by Auto-Finesse. On the leather, on the seats, I like to use the Auto Glim Leather Balm. It's probably the best actual leather treatment I've found for my seats. I've tried the other products like the Turtle Wax and the Auto-Finesse one, and I find this softens the leather up the most. The smell isn't as nice as the Auto-Finesse one, but I still prefer this for the actual softness of the actual leather. Okay, so we're going to get the Karcher out. We'll start on the snow foam first, and then we'll get started. First thing I'm going to do is actually see if I can manually remove as many of these leaves as I can first. It is covered. So it's either getting the car covered in leaves and dirt or dented by the apple tree. There's not many apples left on there, there's about 2 or 3 now. It needs trimming this tree, so I'll probably get that done this spring as well, I think. So I'll get as many of these off as I can. Get it all ready for the jet wash. So I've got most of the leaves off now, so I'm going to go over first with the Kyusha with just water. Get as much of the dirt and debris off first before we do the snow foam. So the next step is going to be the wheels. So I like to do the wheels first. So I'm going to give them a good spray down with the iron out. Remove all the contamination and brake dust, etc. I'll let that dwell for a couple of minutes. Just a bit of troller's breath. Ground the actual body panels as well with the troller's breath just to remove any contaminants as well. And then I'll spray snow foam on there, clean all the wheels, and then I'll continue onto the body. So I give the wheels a coat of snow foam, and then I go in with my soft wheel brush and give them a gentle scrub. They've not long been refurbed, these wheels, you may have seen on the previous videos, so they're in really good condition, so I want to try and keep them like that and keep them clean as possible. Let's go and get my barrel brush up a sec. Here's another piece of excellent kit. It's getting a bit worn actually now, I think I have to go and get a new one. I'll do all the other wheels and then we'll give them a rinse and then we'll snow foam the body. So that's the wheels all cleaned off. I'm just going to give them a rinse now, and then I'm going to snow foam the entire car, let that dwell for a minute, rinse that off, re-snow foam it and give it a contact wash. Let that sit for a minute and then give it a rinse off. For a contactless wash, that's come up pretty clean. There's some areas you can see. I should be able to get with the contact wash next. So I'll do it again, I'll snow foam it. Try and get my snow foam lance working again, because I seem to have a problem with that. I had to use the Kyusha one in the last one. You just don't get a thicker foam. Because I like a nice thick foam on the contact wash. It lubricates the panels a little bit more, stops scratches, etc. I don't use a 2-bucket system anymore. I just use a hose pipe. Basically I wash out my sponge, my wash sponge or my mitt in between. As soon as you put your sponge in your bucket of water, the water's dirty. So unless you've got like a row of 50 buckets, it's pointless. So you just have a hose pipe with clean water, rinse your wash mitt or your sponge out each time with clean water, and then go into your either onto your body or onto your bucket of foamy water, soap water, shampoo, who knows. That's just my way of doing it. People like using 2 buckets, it's up to them. Me, I think it's just a waste of time. Next stage, I'll use a little more snow foam and do all the details and give it a good rinse. Just use the detail brushes. These are nothing special, these are from B&Q, just the actual soft paintbrush with a cone end, costs about £2. These detail brushes are great for getting in all the shuts as well. Oh, spider. There you go. The shuts should be pretty clean, so I only did those recently. I like to keep on top of them, make sure they're all nice and clean. Back to the doors. I like to keep it as clean as possible if I can, especially these winter months. Try and keep the dirt and corrosion away if I can. Petrol flap. I've got the inside to do as well. It's got to be cleaned and vacked. And the boot lid. This is where most of the dirt always seems to congregate on this car. It's pretty good, this pro-kleen snow foam, because it leaves a coating of wax as well, which I find helps stopping dirt from sticking. Just keeping on top of it. Never put any clear coat on the shuts tail for some reason. So eventually I think I am going to have to restore this car, give it a good full repaint like I did with the Nissan. That's all something for the future. So next stage is another rinse down. Then we'll dry it and we'll start the polishing and waxing. Give it some protection, give the paint some protection for the winter months. Time for a rinse, and then I'm going to rinse by hand and clean underneath the arches, make sure they're all clean, and then we'll dry the car and start the polishing and waxing. Now it's the drying stage. What I like to use when drying the car is a turtle wax hydrophobic sealant wax. It's really good. Basically I use this all over the car and then I dry the car off and it helps push any water away. Also adds a little bit of protection and wax as well. To dry the wheels, I'll give these a coat of wax in a minute. See the metal flaking out, it's quite nice. I'll try and get as much wax as I can in the barrels as well. Make sure they're all protected for winter months, and dress the tyres. They're all dried off, looking pretty nice. Now it just needs a little bit of protection, glass cleaning. So what I'm going to use next is the turtle wax, original hard shell wax. It's pretty good actually, pretty old school now, but it's still a fantastic product. The car's pretty much swirl free because I did mop it in the last lockdown and polished all the scratches and imperfections out. There's some deep ones still, I can see that one there, but it's original paint, so it's going to have some battle scars. So I'm going to give it a good coat with this and buff it off. And if I have time before the daylight fades, I'll give it a coat of the Essence Wax by Auto Finesse just to give it that extra gloss and extra protection. stuff's pretty easy to use. We're using a little hockey puck. See if I can do this one hand. And I'll stick it out. I basically just give it a good shake, pour a little bit on the hockey puck, probably about 50p worth, and I'll start small circles and do the whole panel. I'll put you back on the tripod and then you can see what's going on. It's going to be a little bit easier, I think. But it's pretty straightforward. It's a really nice wax to use. It actually goes on really, really nice. I'll put a little bit too much on there. I'll just spread that all around. You want just a nice thin coat. Let that dry off to a haze and then buff it all off. I used to use too much of this stuff when I actually just coat it on. I used to spend hours trying to buff it off, but you only need a little bit. Just a nice thin covering to give it that sort of nice coverage to finish. I'll do all the door shuts with this as well. You go around the whole car and then let it dry and buff it off. I like to give the wheels a coat of wax with the same stuff, so I'll let that dry off as well before I buff it off. But I also like to spray some wax on the inner barrels, and what I use, I'll just get it and show you. I basically like to keep one of the wheel barrel brushes from Auto Finesse, keep the smallest one as a wax applying brush. So basically I just spray wax on the barrel using the glisten spray wax, and then I spread it around with this. I like to keep this just for this job, just to protect the inner barrels a little bit. Again, I'll let that dry and I'll give that a buff off with a cloth. So the wax is all dry to a nice haze now. I'm going to give it a good buff off, and then I'm going to clean the glass with the glass cleaner, and quickly back in the inside out. See in there, it's not too bad, and treat the seats with a little leather cleaner, and then we're pretty much done. Oh, and dress the wheels, dress the tyres. Okay, so the outside all buffed off, looking a lot nicer. We'll go around it again, I think. Make sure I've not missed any areas. I'm going to do the glass next, using the crystal glass cleaner by Auto Finesse. It's pretty good. Just a nice terry towel cloth. Side as well. Perfect. Okay, I'll do the glass on the rest of the car, and then we'll black the tyres, black the rubbers, and then we'll jump on the inside, hopefully before the sun goes down. Front of the engine bay, I like to use the Back to Black and spray, nice Simonize. Just give it a wipe spray over, liberal spray over, and then I wipe off the excess with a dry cloth. Just gives it a nice sheen, drives out any moisture. Tyres are pretty easy. Use the tyre go on a little pad, dab it around. gives them a nice sheen. You can add more as well if you want a deeper gloss, which I like. Very much like that. Much nicer. A little bit of wax there left. So that's a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. Paintwork's all nice and protected for winter now. Yeah, there's a few chips and marks in it. Paint that's 15 years old, I don't think it's too bad. Cleans up lovely. So next step, I've done all the rubbers as well with the tyre glue, they come up quite nice. So next step is to quickly vac the inside out. It's not actually too bad inside, it's mostly the driver's side. The inside's not too bad, but I'm going to give the seats a bit of a clean with the auto glim leather conditioner, just to give them a bit of a soften, make sure they're protected. And first things first, I'll take the mats out, give it a vac, and then clean all the dash and treat the seats, and that's pretty much it. Plastic for the dash, etc. I use the Autofinish Dressel, spray on there, sometimes I spray it onto the cloth and get it on the glass. Just get the nice wipe over. It's a nice smell, gets rid of all the dust. It's a nice matte finish as well, I don't like too shiny finish on the dashboard of this car. Nothing too glossy. Do this all the way around the car on the inside, 8 posts. And now I'm going to do the leather seats. This is the Auto Glim leather cleaner. I start in the back seat first and work my way forward. Put a little bit on each area, and again I spread it around with like a hockey puck applicator. Really softens up the leather, this. It's probably the best one I've found so far. If anybody else has any other suggestions, please let me know. It smells nice as well. Yeah, it doesn't smell as strong of leather as the Auto Finesse one, but I found this actually softens the leather up better. So I'll continue this and then I'll let this soak in 5 minutes, and then I'll buff it off with a clean cloth, and it should be nice and protected for the winter months. All nourished and moisturised. The difference in temperature can cause it to dry out and crack, so that way it protects them as much as possible. Much nicer. Leave that to dry in. Maybe give it another buff off tomorrow. Looking really nice. There we go. Seats all clean, interior's all clean, vacuumed. Shuts are all waxed. Glass is all clean. It's much nicer and fresher. Paint's all protected for the winter months. I'll probably give it another good wax mid-winter anyway, make sure it's all nicely protected. But I think you'll agree, it's quite nice. The sun's starting to go down now, so it's taken me probably 4 hours total from start to finish. That's including getting all the apples off the driveway, of course. Yeah, but I think it looks quite nice. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll hopefully see you on the next one.